Hello, and welcome to my first ever YouTube video. If you don't know already, I'm Hannah, I'm 19, and I make art. So today I thought a good way of introducing myself to the internet would be to do a portfolio tour type thing. So I'll just be going through my accepted college portfolios today. So I applied to Fashion Institute of Technology and Parsons School of Design. I got into both of them, and I will be attending FIT this fall for communication design. Another reason why I want to make this video is because when I was applying for communication design, I didn't see a lot of resources out there to help me figure out how to put my portfolio together, so I just thought this would be helpful for anybody else trying to apply. So first, I'm going to go through my FIT portfolio because it allowed me to put more pieces into it, and then I'll just talk about the differences in my Parsons portfolio, which there's not a whole lot of. So let's get into it. So the first piece in my portfolio is called Overlay. I'll put it up on the screen somewhere. Not my favorite piece. I don't like it too much, but I do think it is somewhat of a unique composition. It's not something you see a lot with like the taped off areas and stuff. Again, not my favorite, but it is very eye-catching, and that's important to put in a portfolio, and I thought it was strong enough to have as my first piece and memorable enough to have as my first piece. It's also really big. It's about as tall as I am. I'm 5'2", and I painted it with acrylic on an unstretched canvas. So the second piece in my portfolio is called In the Wood. It's another acrylic painting I made. I think it's 16 by 24 or something like that. I made it for my AP Studio Art class in high school, and I love it so much. The color scheme is really nice. It's like almost a complementary color scheme with like the orangey yellow tones and the greeny blue tones. And and yeah, I love the composition of it. I love the color scheme. I like that it actually has a meaning behind it, unlike most of my pieces. Yeah, I thought this was a really good piece, and again, right at the front of my portfolio. My third piece in my portfolio is actually a digital piece. It's one of the only digital paintings I've ever made, and I really like how it came out. It has a really simple color scheme, just like blues and reds, and it has a really simple composition, just very central, but I think it's really, like, I guess aesthetically pleasing to the eye. I like looking at it. I think it's really cool looking. I also used this piece for my Parsons challenge that I'll talk about later. I just really love how it all came together, and I thought it was a really strong piece for like one of my first ever digital paintings. It's also really good to have something digital shown in your portfolio, especially when you're applying to a major like communication design, where a lot of what you'll be learning and doing in class is digital. And also, this painting is accidentally a portrait of my boyfriend, just because whenever I don't know what to draw, I draw his face. Yeah. But again, I think it's a really strong piece, so right at the front of my portfolio is the third piece. The next piece in my portfolio is actually a 3D piece. This is the only 3D piece that I included. It is a glass flower. For my birthday a year or two ago, my family got me glass blowing lessons, and this was one of the final things that I made in this class, and I love it so much. It looks so cool. I think it's really unique, and I don't think it's something that a lot of students have. It's not something that people like get into before college or even in college or ever. So I was really proud of this piece, and I think it's a very unique thing to have in a portfolio. The next piece is another unique piece in my portfolio. It's the only photograph that I included, and it's actually a film photograph, so, you know, film photography. And this piece was super spontaneous. It was taken completely randomly, and just everything looks so crisp and so clean, and I just love it a lot, and I think it's a really impressive thing to show in your portfolio. One, that I did film photography, so I can do other things than traditional art, just like the last piece. And two, that I have an understanding of value and composition that really shows through this piece. So now we're getting into the middle of my portfolio. We just passed a whole lot of pieces that I love a lot, and The middle of my portfolio is where I put a bunch of pieces that I think are important to include in my portfolio just to show technical skill, but I don't really love. Like, they're not my favorite at all, but I think it's important to include things like this. So the next piece of my portfolio, the sixth piece, is just a cloth still life. It's nothing special, it's graphite on paper, it's just a still life that everyone probably has something that looks very similar. But it does show a lot of technical skill, so I think it's important to include something like a cloth still life. And this one in particular was one of my best still lifes from high school, so I included it to show technical skill. That's pretty much it. So, same deal with the next piece in my portfolio. It's just a figure drawing. It's not good. The proportions are a little bit off, a lot of bit off, but it's important to show that you went out of your comfort zone. For me, I had to take extra classes outside of my high school classes in order to get this figure drawing because, you know, you're not allowed naked people in high school. But yeah, it just shows that I have technical skill, I have a basic understanding of the human figure, and that I'm willing to go that extra step to enhance my skills, to further my skills. So yeah, this one again is purely just for technical skill and to showcase what I'm willing to do for art. Okay, my camera turned off on me, but I'm back. We're here, and we are talking about, I believe, the eighth piece in my portfolio, and this one is just a collection of 4 different landscape sketches that I did in gouache in a tiny little moleskin sketchbook. I actually love the way that these 4 little paintings look, but they are very much sketches and not like finished artworks, so I put them in the middle to showcase my skill in landscape painting and background painting. But again, since they're not finished, I didn't want to put them near the front or the back because they're not finished. So next is a very, very not good watercolor painting. This was a very last minute addition to my portfolio, and the only reason I did it was because I realized, like, as I was putting it together, that I didn't have any interior spaces included anywhere in my portfolio. So very last minute, I just quickly sketched out and painted in probably like 2 days, just like the corner of my bedroom, which is actually this corner. This one right here. I wish I spent more time on it. I don't like it a whole lot, but it does show that I can do interior spaces. Maybe not well, but I can do them and I'm working on it, you know? So I thought that was an important inclusion, even though it's not good. So this is the last of the not so good middle section of my portfolio. This piece is actually 2 sketchbook pages from my latest sketchbook and 1 page from my iPad. All 3 of these pages are just preparatory sketches for a block print, just a personal project that I was working on. I included them because pretty much every school, when you go to like the portfolio requirements or like inclusions list, they'll all say like, show us how you think. Show us some sketchbook pages so we can see how you got from start to end. So you'll see the next piece is actually the finished product, but I included this because I thought it was a really good example of me preparing for a piece, working on the sketches for it, and then showing a finished product. So again, next is the finished block print from the sketches we just saw. So this block print is based off of a film by David Lynch, also called Rabbits. I just named it after the film. And it's a really weird, like, horror-esque film. I suggest you watch it. I think it's on YouTube. Really low quality, but it's on YouTube. It's called Rabbits. And if you've ever seen it, you'll see very similar elements. It's a really interesting experience, like the whole process of watching this film. So it inspired me to make this block print, and as a result I got some really good portfolio pieces out of it. So this next one is another digital piece. And this is just a business card design that I made personally for like some personal branding reasons. I don't love it. I'm in the process of remaking some more business cards, but here, it's actually right here. I got them printed up and everything. I know, look at me, so professional. But yeah, so this is just the design I made for my business card. When you're applying as a communication design major, it's not important that you already know these skills, but it is important that they know that you're willing to learn these skills. So this is not a great business card design, but it shows that I'm willing to put myself out there and try these things without having even learned them yet. So I just thought this was a really good inclusion for a communication design portfolio. So third to last in my portfolio is the mood triptych. This is a piece I made of 3 different smaller gouache paintings. Each one represents one of the basic human moods with a color scheme of one of the 3 primary colors, just a monochromatic kind of a deal. And I really like how these came out. They really capture what I wanted them to. I think this was one of the best portrayals of moods that I have ever painted in a finished piece before, and I'm just really happy with the overall outcome of these pieces. And I put them towards the end of my portfolio because I think they're really strong. They're one of the most recent paintings in my portfolio too. It's also important in a portfolio to make sure you can convey things like mood and tell somewhat of a story with it. Those are just some important communication details to put in your portfolio. So second to last is another one of my favorite pieces in my entire portfolio. This one's called Mushroom Girl, and it is one of my first and honestly only illustration pieces. And I'm really happy with how it came out. I love the composition, I love the color scheme. I think it's a really good example of my understanding of color and design and just communication, which is my major. I included this piece because it is one of my strongest pieces, and it's very different from the rest of my work in my portfolio, and so it just shows some variety as well as my understanding of color and design and all those important things for communication design. So the last piece in my portfolio is another large-scale, unstretched acrylic painting. This I did at the same time as the first piece in my portfolio, and I actually like this one so much more, even though it was my first large-scale painting. It's also one of my only paintings with more than one figure in the same composition, and I thought that was a really impressive thing to include. I think this piece is really strong, and I thought it would be a great eye-catching finale to my portfolio. So yeah, that was my entire portfolio for the Fashion Institute of Technology. I'll put them all up on the screen right now so you can see all of them together in all their glory. My Parsons portfolio is only 12 pieces, and there's actually one additional piece that wasn't in my FIT portfolio, and that's because it was a part of my Parsons challenge. If you know what the Parsons challenge is, then you'll know that you have to take one of your old pieces and basically rework the concept. The second piece in my portfolio, I believe it was the second piece in my FIT portfolio, titled Escape, is the second piece of my Parsons challenge, and I'll put it up on the screen somewhere. The first piece, this was the only difference other than missing pieces in my Parsons portfolio because it was a part of the Parsons challenge. I don't love this piece. It was a good concept, but I don't think I really followed through well enough to have it be in my FIT portfolio. But yeah, I'll also put up the entire Parsons design portfolio here so you can see the differences. But yeah, so that is what I did to get into college. I hope this helped anyone looking to improve their communication design portfolio before applying to colleges. And for anyone who's not doing that, I hope you liked the video. I hope you like my art. And I hope you come back for more. You can subscribe if you want to, like if you want to, all that stuff that YouTubers tell you to do. And I'll see you next time. Bye. Cool. I hope I was filming that whole thing.